I guess. Oh shit. Guess we are starting our day streaming. I should check the camera first before I started going. All right, so today we are. What are we doing today? What did I say I was going to do? My notes together. I think this is day number 4 or 5. You'd think I'd have my act together by now, but okay. All right, so what we're going to do today is look at. I gotta turn this down. Can't hear myself think. All right, so what we're going to look at today, we're going to go through AcreetionOS. It's a custom Linux distribution. Uh, well, I'd have to talk to them. As far as right now, it's built on Arch. Built on top of that, it's got some quite a bit of custom work actually done. They come with Cinnamon and GNOME as a desktop. But then there's some other pretty cool, neat tweaks to make it run on older hardware that we won't talk about today, but I think we're going to dig into that later. And then it's a pretty cool project. I agreed to work on an ARM port for that team. I guess I'm part of the team now. To work on the ARM port, and then because I have project management background, and I'm completely not an open source guy. Like, there's a lot of open source projects that I follow, and I've done some talking, but not a whole lot of contributions. Some, but not a lot. So I'm learning that too, as far as contributing to open source projects. um, how that works and how working with the community works. Which I don't know why anybody would let me in a community. That's I don't, if it's if they're dumb enough to let me in, I probably don't want to be part of that club. But anyways, we'll go through what Accretion is. We'll kind of take a peek around their GitHub. I was going to show their GitLab, self-hosted GitLab instance, but it's wonky. It's always wonky for me. Everybody else has a fine deal logging into it and working on stuff, but for whatever reason, I always have problems. I think it's just me though, so we won't look at it. But then we'll look at their GitHub organization. We'll look at the repos that they already have because they mirror their GitLab to their GitHub, which I think is a pretty neat solution for privacy, but also being open source, and not everything has to be out in the public. We'll look at that, and then I want to look at some other. And primarily what I'm looking at is like where I can fit in and help with some of the other stuff besides just contributing code. Because there's a balance between enterprise everything, which are proven workflows and stuff that actually makes software development happen. But then there's also we're so enterprisey with a small team of 5 people, it's overkill, or 3 people, or even 10 people. It's just overkill, and you don't need to do all that. It just makes everything hard for no reason. So I have to work a balance between what's useful, what's helpful, what individual people want to work as their own workflow, like IDEs and how they run their branches and stuff like that. You have to have a narrow set of like, this is what the project is, so this is where everybody knows they are. You can attract contributors, but then also respecting everybody's personal choices. I run a Mac, and tinker with Linux on the outside. I've got a bunch of Mac or a bunch of Linux machines. I've got some now. I'm building one, but my daily driver is Mac. So we'll go through some of that, and then we're also going to, if we have time, we will look at some other open source projects. Like I said that already. We'll look at some other open source projects that are Linux focused, that are on GitHub, that have a real good workflow. They've got 1,000 contributors, stuff like that. But I want to dig into how they do it and focus it on GitHub because they're community projects. They're not enterprise. They're 100% community led. Well, we're going to look at Pop because Pop has a really good setup. They're enterprise, but they do have a pretty good community group, and they're building their own applications and all that. So I would think to some degree, Pop is kind of the new hotness. Uh, they're modernizing Linux. So it might be a good idea to look at them. But anyways, it's enough of me talking. And if we have time, I like to go on my rambles. I might do a ramble at the end to, and we're only going to do about 2 hours today. If we have time, I'm going to do a ramble at the end about open source in general. It's going to get a little political, so stay tuned for that, and it should be interesting. And I'll just ramble. It'll be fine. Everybody knows I like to talk, man. Everybody likes to listen to me talk. I definitely like to listen to myself talk. But all right, so let's go ahead and get on. This is me. I'm trying not to self promote um, too much because I don't want to sell ads and stuff like that. I'm not trying to gain a bunch of followers everywhere, but I do need sponsors for my application. I I am going to need sponsors for people who want to buy me a cup of coffee so I keep the lights on for this particular streaming and stuff. And I've got some other open source stuff that I want to build, and then I want to contribute to. So I'm gonna have, I'm gonna have to stop hiding in the shadows and make some friends. So, you want to come be friends with me? Um, my links and all that stuff will be in the video's descriptions. All right, so let's talk about our AcreetionOS. They have a really nice website. Natalie is the one who built this. It's actually very nice. Um, I'm kind of impressed with the work because it's got information over here, the community and team. It's got on here, uh, Darren and Natalie. And they're the team. I just kind of hang around on the outskirts. But they've got here's their Discord server, here's their GitHub organization, here's the GitLab instance if they're doing that. Um, Tags are on there. That's nice. They've got contributor guidelines, like how you can contribute. You know, they've got a straight email. Not everybody wants to join Discord. That's great. This is all good stuff. And then this is a neat thing that they do that I think is fantastic. They have AI built in. It's just Gemini, but lots of times people go places and ask questions because they are looking for an answer. They want a real answer, but they actually don't want to engage with anybody. It's like a quick thing. I don't want to. I like to read documentation, but I don't always have time to go search around a website and go through 10 pages and maybe it answered my question, maybe it didn't. Um, but I also don't want to go to the Discord and ask in the random or the IRC and ask in the random ether, and someday somebody will get back to me. If I know it's going to be an email question, that's great. They have their email on there, so that's good. That's a good thing. But then also, I could just ask Gemini real fast, and it's because they're linking to it. It's specific, so that's great. Answer my question, and get Gemini answer. If it doesn't work, then yeah, go bug the team. And they're nice people, so like join the Discord. It's a pretty cool place. But I do like that feature. That's pretty nice, and they've got other options, so they're not locked into you know Gemini or whatever. They got other options. I actually think that's pretty cool. Um, I'm gonna self help tool. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know, but I think that's pretty neat. They've got their own flasher. Let me check chat here real quick. Darren is telling me a bunch of stuff. Oh, we're supposed to meet when I'm done, so that's 3:30 my time. That's last time we spoke about what time we were going to meet today. So 3:30. Yeah, talk to Natalie. It's supposed to be 3:30. Um, they got their own USB flasher. That's nice. The manual downloads. Um, they've got mirrors up here. I mean, they're growing as a project. They got real mirrors out there. There's a university, so that's nice. The Gnome edition. Um, they could do their own. It's got real good instructions like how to jump in right away. Because some people, you give them the documentation and they're like, "Nope, I'm going to YOLO it, see what happens." Sometimes I'm that guy, so I like this. I like it's all right here on the front page. You could go to this one page and see what you get. The other thing I like about this a lot is this is not shiny, flashy Netflix like a commercial. I don't know if you go to some of the other websites, they're Vercel or something like that, where they're advertising their tool. It's not Linux, but it's super modern and flashy. It's got all kinds of React stuff going on and Vue maybe Vue.js. It's real flashy and modern, but it's a lot of Linux people are terminal. So like they want just like flat, they want colors, but they want just like flat um material design. They want it to look modern, but well, some of them don't even want it to. They would rather you just send them a text file. But generally speaking, they want modern and they want nice, but they don't want to go look at the Netflix landing page with videos and all that other stuff. They don't care. And then if you're also looking at this on mobile, like that's important. A lot of people are going to be searching this for the first time on their phones. So the overall design, I really like. I think they did a good job. Um, they're about which single page will just pop down. That's cool. Download single page, pop down. There we go. So if I just wanted to scroll, I'd get all the information. But if I was looking for something specific, um, they've also got a wiki started, which the only complaint I have about the wiki that I think should be somewhere on the priority list is making the colors match. It's nice that it's a different subdomain. That makes it nice, but it it doesn't. It's not cohesive. And Linux people are super picky about if you're a GTK guy, you're a GTK guy, and then if you're a QT guy, you're a QT guy. Like you want things to be blended in. So the more that the website can be part of what their normal flow looks like, great. And then because you already have a design picked in, if it matches the color scheme and the fonts and all that, if that all matches together, then it's nicer. But other than that, it's here, which is great. That's more than some of these other projects that have a ton of potential, and they're about as far as you guys are, but or the Accretion guys are, and the Accretion guys are listening. Um, and some of them aren't this far even. The other ones that have a lot of potential, but they're not even this far, even though they didn't spend the same amount of time. So I think this is all really nice. Um, what does their contact and support show? They've heard me say this a bunch of times, but I'll say it on purpose. The and I've seen some newer projects. I'm old school. I've seen some newer projects talk about um, they use GitHub issues for actual work, the things they're actually going to work on. People having issues and support, go to the Discord. Don't file an issue on GitHub for you can't figure out how to make it work on your Pine board. Don't do that. Go to Discord and get some help. That's great. Um, so I do think that Discord is nice. I don't like the ticketing system on Discord as a replacement for GitHub. I don't think it's efficient, and isn't not everybody's going to want to go to Discord. But some people are going to bring something up, like, "Hey, did you know this?" And they move on with their day, and you'll never hear from them again. And it's worthwhile them telling you, but they'll never create a GitHub issue. So having the two kinds of conversations, or talk to somebody on Discord, and then either whoever talked to them on Discord will create the issue if it warrants it, or you could just troubleshoot their problem. That way, you also involve the community. The more people are using Accretion, the more people will be able to answer these questions. So it's not all on the team to fix. Because a team of two people or even three people counting me, this is only get so big, right? So you gotta have a core team that's doing the majority of the work, organized, and then you gotta have a community of people who are willing to step in and troubleshoot and step in and create issues and step in and solve issues, or else it'll never get very big. There's just no way. Um, grow or die. So I'm coming around on the Discord thing, but a little bit. You still need to get help issues. Um, the contact, that's fine. Live chat. I don't know what this is. What is this? Oh, it goes to the. That's pretty cool. Goes to the Discord. That's cool. Team directory. That's pretty cool. I don't know about putting your. Okay. But overall, this website is nice. They've also got like where you would go. I would plug Arco Linux a little bit more. Hyperbole. I'm not even sure what that is. I know what that is, but I don't know what this is. Community news, GitLab, GitHub, XMPP. There's a little formatting issue down here. But yeah, like I said, overall, I think the website is good. They're definitely a dedicated team, and they're doing a good job on it. Now let's go to their GitHub repo. Um, what's this? Okay, their GitHub um, organization. I think they got a ton of repos in here. And not all, and I know not all of these are being actively maintained. But again, it's got the website, it's got an email contact. That's good. We're a good start. For organizations, um, as far as organizations go, you can create a README for this very page that's right here. So when they land, they see something similar to your website, and it can have you can pull content from your website, your little blurbs. Let's go back. Right, you can create the README with blurbs. Could be a ton of this page because you're going to get people that click on the website and go to look there, and then again, people who don't want to go to the website, they want to go to the GitHub because that's where all the action is. So it's that stuff. It doesn't have to be unique. It can be the same, or mostly the same, or even identical. It's a community project. You can change as you go. Um, Now the important repos up here, that's good. This needs to be maintained for what's active, what's not active. Some of the stuff is not. The Docker build and stuff. I know that's not being worked on, and there's nothing really there. So, but the GitHub organization is there, which is better than it's in somebody's unique repository. Especially if you're trying to do a community thing. So I do like this. There's just that README needs to be um, put together. But and then because that's kind of like I said, and I don't want to go too crazy on it. That this is the landing page that people are going to come look at the organization. So this is the website was all about the ISO, right? This is how you get the ISO when you put it on your machine. The GitHub is this is where all the code lives. So people are looking for the code. They're not necessarily maybe they come here and they want to find the ISO, so you need to point them in the right direction. But maybe they're coming here to look at the configs for the Calamares installer. You know what I mean? Like they need a place to find it. This directs that path. This is also a good place to put the developer roadmap. The roadmap on the website, which I think needs one, is this is where we're going to be this year. This is where we want to be next year. This is what we're working towards. And then on the GitHub, it's like, okay, just do this year. This is where we're going to be release number 47 or whatever, 0.10, whatever. And we want to be there by January. And then these are the small epics that we're going to do. This is what our plan is going to be. And also, the roadmap on the website can be more about social media campaigns and donation drives and things like that. So you get a little bit more about the project as a whole. GitHub should be code related to the OS. But still, that doesn't have to be done tomorrow. That's just something that I think should be thought about. If you're starting your own project, um, these couple of little landing pages items, I think would be good and kind of help you go along. Because see, they have 100 repositories on this one thing, and I know at one point they were going to mirror all their own stuff and have their own versions of a lot of things, which I advocated for. I was like, no, get your own stuff. Get your own stuff. Yes, it's based on Arch, but like eventually you want to move away from that. I know. So you're going to try and get there. So start working on having your own repositories. Maybe they pull updates from other stuff, but you're making your own customizations, things like that. That's good, but having this many mirrors is not uh, it's not attractive because when people come to look at the GitHub, they're like, "Oh, this has been worked on. This is real slow. Nothing's happening there. Oh, there was a spike. Oh, they did a lot of work right here. Oh, but nobody's working on this since July. That's not cool. Oh, there was a lot of stuff on the browser, and then it died. You can't do anything about that because you got to archive it. But if you have so many of these projects, there's only so many people. You can't work on this stuff 24/7. A lot of activity, and then dead. And then it looks like looking at all this activity marker, it's like, oh, well, these guys got real fast and furious and did a shit ton of stuff. Excuse my language. And then it dropped out. So if I just come to this page and start scrolling down, it looks like this project's dead. Oh, see? A lot of activity, a lot of activity. It's dead. And I know for a fact, having worked with these guys, it's not dead. Just updates happening all the time. It's not dead. They're working on massive stuff, massive changes all the time, keeping it going, making improvements. But looking at these health of these repos, it's not. So these all need archived if there's no work being done on them, and limit the actual. This is the even having 3 repos that are actively happening. Um, and that's it because that's as far as the team. That's the bandwidth that the team has. Then just do that because like here we're not even. You know what I mean? It's there's no reason to have this. These can be archived. And then projects. So I can get to this um, as a public person. I think this. Yeah, there's no project. There's no roadmap. There's no. So it's hard to tell what's going on. And then if I go back to here, there's no. Which one do I look at? Package request, build system, initial documentation. Oh, okay, initial documentation. Now this is one I had a hand in. Um, this is my old handle. Um, okay, so here's some stuff. Okay. Well, oh, the last commit for any of this was 8 months ago. Nothing's happening here. It looks like this is any random passerby. There's nothing happening in this. Okay, this looks promising. All right, so 4 commits behind. The fork of a fork. Oh, okay, so there's stuff happening here last month, 2 weeks ago. And within 30 days, these numbers look good, right? Okay, so there's code. It's a lot of Python. Okay, just a push. It's my buddy. Linux #1. Nice. I like it. Just a push. Well, let's see what happened 2 weeks ago. What happened? Oh, this is a Claude. Yeah, everybody's using Claude. You're not a real developer if you don't use Claude. That's a joke. Um, all right. Well, cool. So this, like I said, the GitHub. That's where all the cool kids are. They've heard me talk about this a bunch, Natalie and Darren, and they don't like it, but it's reality. So, all right. So we, I think we got some kind of view on what their project is. I wanted to show you the GitLab CE. They're self-hosted. That's a little bit more organized and a little bit more to see what they're actually doing, which I think is good. But there's that community vibe, and again, this is not me like dogging on them at all because they're doing fantastic work, and I have to adapt to this too, and that's kind of what I'm learning looking at this. Like, okay, well, if I'm an outsider but I want to jump into this project, what do I see? I've got to do that for my own projects, right? So this is a learning experience for me too, because I thought today, like, I'd go look and then I'd file a bunch of issues. And that's not going to be like file a bunch of issues on all the repos. So I have to go through like 100 repos and be like, this needs archived, this needs archived, this needs archived. That's not going to be helpful to anybody, and it's going to be a waste of my time. And it's going to be a slog to go through to look through. Oh, John said this needs archived 100 times. They're going to stop reading. So that's not effective. And I'm not offering actual solutions yet. So when I'm building my open source projects and when I'm going to look at another project, I joined them yesterday that I'm really into it. Um, they have a good setup, but I want to make sure that I present myself well when I join. So I got to kind of know what I'm talking about before I go. I mean, I commented on a couple of issues. I joined their Discord. I'm reading. I made announced myself. I introduced myself where I'm at, what I'm doing with their project personally. It's a tool that I use, so I have some skin in the game. And then also, I just think it's a really neat project. They got a good community over there. But if I'm helping the Accretion team and I'm doing my own open source stuff, again, I'm not trying to dog on Accretion, but I got to look at like what does this look like from an outside observer? Even being charitable because they're my friends, and it's a project that I want to be in. What does it look like? Um, so, and Open source, I'll talk about this again at the end. Open source is a general rule. You hear people say this, but at least I have heard people say this on streams and stuff. If you want to join a project that's it's a tool that you like and it's open source. So I'm a .NET guy and TypeScript, and some other tiny stuff, but basically .NET. That's what I do right now at least. So I don't necessarily want to go code a bunch of JavaScript for even if it's for a tool that I use. I don't want to invest that kind of time, and I'm not good at it. So I would, I'm not a good candidate for that. But I can help with marketing. I can help with technical documentation. I can triage issues because I know how to develop software. So like I can contribute to other open source projects that I'm not going to write code for. And you'll find a lot of people who write code aren't good at those other things. So if you've got some kind of experience, even if you're the creative one on the team that you don't or want to join the team, that you don't do Python, but you have some web UI experience or you have some social media experience or you have some project management experience. It's okay to go talk to that project and be like, "Hey, this is what I offer. This is what I know how to do. Is there a way for me to fit in?" Okay, so AcreetionOS has got a wiki. Well, we should find a technical writer that's using AcreetionOS, but he likes to write technical documentation. This is the Linux community. There's going to be a bunch of people out there that'll help write the man pages and help write the wiki and help that kind of stuff. You're going to have somebody who's a web developer who um, does websites all day, does the front end for websites all day. It's like, oh, okay, well, let me manage the website because that's what he does all day, or he or she does all day every day. So defer to their expertise, and then the rest of the team can go back to what they actually want to do. There's all kinds of ways to contribute, and you shouldn't just be limited to, um, I don't know how to write any code, so I can't help. That's not true. The other thing I would strongly, strongly recommend anybody that's even looking for these other projects, go read a bunch before you start talking. Because one of the things that I've seen people do is they go and don't read. They're like, oh, I love this tool. And then they jump in the Discord and they say a bunch of stuff. And if it's a nice community, they'll talk to you. If it's a bad community, they're going to crap on you. And then you feel bad. But there's also communities out there that are just toxic. You're never going to be good enough. They never want you on the team. You're never going to be their friend. You're never going to contribute. They're never going to take you seriously. They're never going to pull your requests. None of that. So, and you'll see that in the comments if you're paying attention. So when you're out, go out and look and join these communities and go talk to people, and you go look at the repos and stuff. Is it active? If it's not active, don't join. If it's a bunch of angry comments everywhere, just don't join. It's okay for you to still use a tool. Just stay away from those people. It's it's a slog. Don't do it. Um, that's my advice. I'm an old guy. What do I know? Okay, so we did that. Um, that's well, you can't do this CE. Um, I said I was gonna try and do. I'm looking at my notes, by the way. I said I was gonna try and create some issues, but I don't think that's helpful. Um, I don't think that's gonna be helpful. I wasn't really gonna talk about this, but let's go ahead and do this. Uh, I have, uh, if you're watching the streams, I have Embercore. That's the medication app that I'm building. I did create an org for it, and I set up that README where, like, as soon as you land on it's got a logo. Christian's got that too, and then I haven't turned on the discussions yet, but I've got this README so people can go, "What is Embercore? This is what it is. These are where the projects live. This is," and then how you can get started if you're going to help me. Um, then there's nothing wrong with this. This looks pretty good. It looks like I just started, um, but I had uh, Claude write a lot of this stuff. I just spell checked it and made sure Claude didn't hallucinate. Took me 10 minutes, I think, but it looks like something. Um, I got my repositories organized, and this is like, oh, this project isn't that old, but look, these are all important business rules, the domain logic. So we go look at the domain logic. This is private, but um, see, I've been working in here within 2 weeks. It's 100% C sharp. And then even on the repo itself, I've got a README for what this particular repo is for. And then I've got it spelled out where everything is, quick start, all that stuff. With the modern day with AI, this doesn't take anything to write. You just make sure that AI is actually doing the correct job. And you're going to see that, again, anybody who's developing professionally, they're bitching about the code. That's true. But the only way they would know to bitch is because they're using the tool. Um, just take that and stick it under your hat. Um, this is the what I'm actually hoping to contribute to AcreetionOS. I got to get their press kit. Um, it's an ARM port. So we got X86, and I'm not an ARM guy. This is going to be a huge learning experience for me. Um, but Accretion runs on X86, but it's got a lot of potential to run on ARM boards. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's not. It's going to be a fun learning experience. It is totally possible, but I'd like to get it running on a Pine board, an ARM laptop. I think I want to try it on an ARM server because there's a lot of performance gains you can get on that. It's expensive, but there's a lot of performance gains. And because Accretion runs so slick, it's a this is a good thing to do. This could go pretty far. Um, Probably not through me though. um, all right, well, yeah, that's this has been a good talky talk. Let's look at uh, we talked about this for a second, and then let me go back and just kind of mention. I'm not going to show you the Accretion OS Discord right now. Um, Not because I'm embarrassed about it or anything, but it's a good Discord. But I want to dig in and look at all the conversations and stuff. I talked about this for a minute earlier, where it's okay to have a Discord that people could just jump into and join the conversation and ask silly questions and get silly answers and just join the community before they get to GitHub. That's fine and that's good. And you can have people come and uh, join the Discord just to socialize. Discord is a social media. It's a Twitter or a Reddit or a Facebook or a whatever. And considering how much Twitter and Reddit have and Facebook for the longest time now just tanked in what their actual usability is, Discord is a valid option because you got a much better chance of talking to a real person on Discord than you do on all those other platforms, especially if you're dealing with strangers or whatever. So I do like. I mean, I hate Discord. The UI sucks. The color sucks. Um, Instant chat, I think, is a mistake. Social media instant DMs is a mistake society wise, but it is what it is. It's good as a supplement to what GitHub is with, okay, this is my project. This is what's going. I click here. Oh, there's ARM development. Okay, they've got issues. They've got a whole milestone set up over here for the ARM thing. Uh, they got stuff that's to do, nothing in progress. Right, but I got to work on a tool chain. That's so if you just jumped in here and looked at it without looking at my roadmap and my big promises and all that other stuff, you could say, okay, well, this is stuff they already know about. All right, it's they have not even started working on it, and these two are in progress. Okay, so I can click on this one. I haven't started it yet. What is this? Okay, user story, acceptance criteria, technical details, definition of done. There's flags on here, I think. Yep, it's got flags. It's attached to a project. It's attached to a milestone. It's milestone one, so this is coming soon. And then here's the comment conversation. That's super handy and looks nice. And me as a developer, because I haven't touched this in a little bit, I go back, well, this is what I'm supposed to be working on. So bam, I'm informed now. I can open the repo on my local machine and know what's going on. That's different than Discord and that it's long technical information that I can, so now I can view what's going on. You're never going to get this on Discord. It's not set up for that. So you're never going to get this kind of information from Discord. All right, we're going to go to Pop OS and look at their GitHub. But I'm going to read. I saw I got some chats. So I'm going to read the chats in just a second. I get some other messages I'm going to read. And then I will jump right back in. I'm also going to get a glass of water. So I'm going to take a break for a few minutes and then we'll come back and dive into this. So what were we doing? All right, so we're gonna look at Pop OS. We're gonna highlight on Pop that they have super awesome issue templates. They have clear contribution guidelines. And their discussions, I've heard people say that their discussions are great. There's absolutely not a lot of stuff here. Uh, these are from 2023. There's a lot of them, but look how many are unanswered. So this is not great because don't turn on the discussions if you're not going to use them. Point people to the Discord. I don't particularly like that. Now, the issues, this is another thing. Are they really triaging these? Because there's 1,006 issues. That's a ton. So, okay, log out when laptop closed. So, what is this? It's not been assigned to anybody. It's not had labels. It's not had type, no projects, no relationships. This hasn't been looked at. Now, when does it say that this? And this is 30 issue 3600. When does it say this was? This guy popped on 2 hours ago. This is a recent issue. So let's go down. Let's go find the 3065. So they're still open. So this one was all the way from 2017. Open source projects move slow, but let's see what kind of comments we got in here. So what is this? It's not assigned to anybody. There's no. This is from 2018. Again, this looks dead. Like nobody's working on it. We're gonna look at their pull requests. All right, so somebody updated the repo, main staging repo, submodules and Git archive. These are good. Uh, this is a draft from 2020. It's 2025. It's almost 2026. That kind of bumps me up. And they've got their wiki. Use the features subreddit. Right, new issue. Okay. Yep. Nice. But let's go back to just the organization here for a second. They don't have a README here at the front, but you can go right ahead and see they're active. The compositor is active. I have 331 repositories, but a lot of these are because it's a desktop. This is all scratch work. But they got a lot of traction. But this one, right? But it's better than what I got because there's a lot of stuff here. They got projects. Let's see what this is. So I don't think they're using GitHub projects as their main. This is probably mirrored from somewhere else. This drives me nuts. Right, but there has been work. It's emerging on this. You can see the activity, what's actually being done. But again, I'm not sure why there's nobody assigned. No. See, this has got to be mirrored from somewhere else. This is what looks like is their main focus right now. Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job. There's a lot of stuff I don't like. I don't like with the mirrors, like it's hard to tell. It looks like nothing's happening, but I don't think that's true. I think this is getting worked on, but it's not out in the public. But again, they got 1,000. Let me see how they're managing their issues. We want to go to the oldest, not the oldest, but this is from 2024. This is okay. 2024. Here you go. Here's an idea, but nobody responded to this. It's just been sitting there. That's frustrating for the community to be like they're not listening. If you have somebody triaging this, they go in here and they put in the uh, labels won't be worked on. And then they make a comment down here. This is a great idea. You should build it. Let us know when you got it done. You know, this is a Discord discussion. Here's our Discord. And then close the issue. So it's not cluttering anything up. It's a question. Somebody talked. Yeah. Yeah. And there's what I said about you can have Claude go back and triage these issues. You just open up a terminal and Claude can go back and triage these issues. Point people to the Discord for conversations or whatever. Let's go see what they got in their discussions. Still marked as unanswered. Yeah. I think if you're mirroring these issues, somebody's not actually maintaining this, then why have it? Um, okay, that's pop. Let's go look and see what we got with Nix. Let's go Nix landing. It's their org landing page. They got that's cool. They don't have the README though. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong about having a README there in the beginning? Am I the one that does it weird? Where I like to have READMEs, like so you know what you're looking at when you first get there, so you don't have to like okay, because now I'm looking at like what do I want to look at? What am I supposed to be going to? I like that they have a branding guide. Let's just go to next. Okay. What's the contributing guide say? Now, one of the workflows that I see on other projects that I probably should pull an example of this is um, says make your change and then create a pull request. the workflow I've always seen recommended and have been told to use is go look on the issue board. If your issue isn't there, then create an issue, explain it clearly, and then at the bottom of the issue, volunteer to work on it. And then once you've created that issue and volunteered to work on it, when they triage the issue, they can assign it to you and comment that, yeah, we would love for you to work on this. And then now you've got an issue number and you've got a place to keep track and you've got a place to update the team for what is happening with it. Then you can create your pull request because they already know it's existing. They already know somebody's working on it and it's already being pulled and it's going to show up eventually. And then also another contributor like me is like, oh, is this being worked on? And then I found the issue. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They created the issue. Can I volunteer to work on it? Oh, no, this guy already said he was working on it. Or somebody created the issue and he's not willing to work on it, but it's something I know how to do, so I can post in the comments, I'd love to work on this. And they say, okay, cool. Once you've commented on it, GitHub won't let you, assign and all the other stuff. But once you've commented on the issue, then the admin can click on the assign and give it to you. That's just a more organized way of knowing who's supposed to work on what. Um, it's more productive and it's actually faster to get it done like that because then you commit it in public that you can work on this. If you're not going to work on it, push your code to your branch and skedaddle. It's my thinking. You can also publish your branch. You created the issue. You created a branch. You're working on the issue. You created the issue. They assigned it to you. You created a branch. You got it cloned locally. Publish the branch. So then they can, if they want to go look, they can go look at the work you're doing, and then make comments. That's just to me, that's just a simple way to do it. And in the enterprise world, that's how they're juggling issues back and forth. The project manager or the lead tech can go look and see what's happening, and see the code and make comments as you go along. So if he's doing a review to go look at your code while you're working on something, he can just make a comment on it, be like, "Hey, line 9 through 47 is garbage. Don't do it that way." Before you even instead of finishing it and going all the way through and creating a pull request, just for him to say line 9 through 47 is garbage, do it again. Like it's just an easier way to work. Um, but sometimes with these projects, and we're teetering on our political conversation. Um, that's funny. Yeah, archive is teetering on these. Some of these people who are in these open source projects. This is another reason why documenting up front is good. Putting up a little bit of barriers to the public is good. Because especially with Nix, I don't have a problem with Nix. I don't have a problem with the organization, me personally. Uh, that I don't. I also don't use Nix, and I'm not part of the community. They're an example because they're very popular. I mean, they got um, 3,000 issues, 1,700 forks, 15,000 stars. This is popular. So yeah, who am I? I'm nobody. I showed you my GitHub page in the beginning. I got like one follower and two public repositories, and it's a new profile, so it's commits in the last 2 months. Like I'm a nobody, so you take it with a grain of salt what I'm saying. But I will say that Nix is an example community where they're more interested in community management than they are code and working on a project. Like they're more interested in policing their contributors' speech and policing the mailing list and policing the comment etiquette and policing the Reddit, and the moderators are running around making moral judgments about people who want to talk. Like they're more interested in that than actually moving the project forward. It's not a technical it's not a technical project. There are people who use it and there are Nix is in servers on enterprise. That's true. The people are using the technology, but the communication around the technology is not. There is no communication around the technology that I can see. Maybe it's behind closed doors. I don't know. But even we looked on their issues, not a lot happening. But I see in a bunch of other different places about people getting banned and purged. And Lundu talked about this, and like there's a lot of stuff going on that people are aware of. That not version bumps, not new features. It's we cut this guy loose because we don't like him. you have to be careful with that with open source, and you have to be careful what camps you're aligning yourself with because you don't want to get caught up in backlash when all you're trying to do is technical work, and that shouldn't be. But just that's my thought about Nix. They're more interested in being the Twitter of the open source world than they are about shipping a product. But I do know enterprises use it, so it's a good technical project. It's just I'm leery. Um, but that's enough. That's enough of those guys. Let's see. We did Pop. We did Nix. Okay, we're gonna look at Void, and I've not paid attention to Void in a long time, but I've heard people say good stuff. So we go to Void Linux. Again, they don't have a README, so it might not. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me that puts a README on an org when I'm trying to work on something, and I'm the only one that does that. I don't know. Void packages, source packages, live image maker, init system for Void, Void docs. So they're working. They've got stuff going on. How many repositories? They have 33 repositories. All right. So some of these haven't been worked on in years. Some of these haven't been worked on in a long time. 2018. So this is right. No, it's public archive. Okay. Okay, so they had a 2024 project and they finished it. 20 contributors. So they don't have discussions. You have to go somewhere else. They don't have discussions. They don't have a wiki. You have to go somewhere else because it's not visible up here. Okay, so let's say, all right, so Void Linux, where's our overview? Okay, so I've landed on this page and so now I got to go to the website. Mastodon, IRC channel, LibreChat, and a subreddit. Okay. So they have a community you can go join, and that's where they talk. Okay. This seems to be their most active. Commits 2 hours ago. So discussions look like. All right, so they're paying attention to their discussions, I think. So this is just a matter of, but it did add that it was stale. Oh, bug. Added and removed stale. Added and removed stale. So this should be closed and won't fix, or closed, resolved somewhere else, or closed somewhere else. I cherry picked, right? So I just, hey, let me grab a random old one and then critique how these guys are doing it. That's not what I'm pointing out. I'm trying not to point it out. Boyd is nice. I like Boyd. I know these are good people. But all these open ones that only, what does this say? This one's got 8 comments. So somebody's been assigned. That's good. Stale. Now it says the depend about here says 14 days after that. But this is from 2021, but it's not closed. Why is it not closed? So they're working 2 weeks. A lot of pull requests. It's a working project since 2023. So this is something that could be cleanly merged. Why didn't it? Why didn't it get merged? Okay. All right. So we've been talking for a while. This wasn't even going to take 2 hours. All right. So we looked at a couple examples of Linux projects, and how they were managing stuff open source and how they were managing their repos. And this is where I have to understand that for me, like my organizational level, the detail, I think my autism is kicking in because I would do a lot of things differently. It's not how I run my own personal projects, and it's not when I work in the commercial environment when I'm trying to do stuff to get paid. Like the requirements are different of what you have to do and what you're held accountable to. Open source doesn't always do that. The people running the project might not be. They might have started as hobbyists and they're going to run a project because but their day job is something else. They're a trash collector or something. Um, they know that field, but they like Linux, so they're doing that. Or they taught themselves how to code, but they still have a day job as a accountant. Like that. That stuff is out there and exists, and there's been people who did pretty cool stuff uh, as an amateur, meaning not professionally paid, that taught themselves how to do it, and then created great projects. And then the guy who made Wordle was a journalist, and he sold it for like $7 million. Like it's crazy. But he taught himself how to code, and he made the app. That stuff does happen. So I don't want to be discouraging to anybody who's just starting out, or somebody who doesn't know about project management, or somebody who doesn't know about the software development lifecycle, or doesn't know any of that stuff. Go join and figure it out. And then if your project is all these people who don't want to do uh, commercial grade stuff or professional level work, but you've got a community around it and you're getting stuff done, then that's fine. If it's going somewhere, that's great. I always encourage projects to go somewhere rather than where just a bunch of people sitting on Discord talking about building something. I mean, I'd like to see project. A lot of people have a lot of great ideas, um, and have the skill set to do good things, to do big things. But it doesn't get off the ground because they don't execute well. They don't know how to. Or everybody's got a good idea on Friday, and then Monday they got a brand new good idea. Um, I suffer from that too, like making changes a lot and second guessing myself, my imposter syndrome kicking in, and me wanting to look more professional. Or, oh, you look too old and professional. You need to put your hoodie on. And, what's up, bro? because it's just imposter syndrome works that way. Especially somebody like me who taught myself how to do it. I've spent a long time watching YouTube videos and YouTube creators and reading Substack articles, and only to figure out that those guys were all fake and they're YouTube creators, not developers. They have a YouTube channel where they type code, but they don't actually make anything. They don't work in the industry. They don't. Maybe they went to school for computer science, but a lot of those guys didn't do that either. So it's fake and hype. So I ended up I went and read a bunch of documentation, but then uh, that's enough about me. But open source in general, um, I think we talked about a couple of good points. We looked at some good repos. We looked at some good organizations, and um, I would be critical on a lot of things that also said they do a lot of good things. Um, I think that's important. The political thing I want to talk about is being a US based developer with imposter syndrome, and I changed careers late and I taught myself a lot of stuff. Um, I'm not ever going to be at a super high level skill wise. I'm too old. My memory doesn't work like a 20-year-old kid. I'm set in my ways. I did work professionally in project management. I came from construction. Well, I came from the military and I came from construction. So, like the project management side, I have 20 years experience doing that, managing projects, agile, waterfall. Yes, I've done all of that. I had certifications, like I've done all that. The actual coding has been doing that for 10 years, professionally for 8. And by professional, I mean sometimes pay me. I LARP on the internet as a coder, and I've convinced a bunch of employers that they should pay me for code. So yeah, I get code, and sometimes I write code, and sometimes people pay me. I'm a professional. Um, I'm certainly not a guru. I can't stress that enough. I'm not a guru. There's lots of people out there that could probably teach you how to code better than I can code. So let's go listen to them if you want to learn how to write TypeScript. Um, but open source in general, like I said earlier, there's GitHub is like social media for coders. There's a lot of projects out there that don't, that's their whole purpose is community. It's not the code. It's not the project getting off the ground. It's networking. It's social media. And all the gurus that I've ever talked to trying to teach you how to code and buy my course, they say go build an open source project. And if you go build an open source project, then you'll get hired. So you get strapped with this project that it was fun in the beginning, but then it turns into work, and then you got a whole bunch of people asking you to do stuff for this project, and you just wanted a job, but now you're maintaining this whole project that's stacked up somewhere, and somebody's using it, depending on it, and then the community shits on you, and they're not nice, and they come and call you a Nazi or a communist. You know, the people aren't communists, but they get called communists, or they're not. People get called Nazis are not Nazis, and it was also that you could get a job. And what was the point of that? The corporations come and pay people on their staff to go contribute to open source projects or to start an open source project. Why would they do that? Because they get free labor. Because then they also go back and tell everybody, go work on this open source project for your resume. So now they've got a bunch of self-taught developers who don't have paperwork saying that they're a good developer, don't have anything to pad their resume with. They go work for corporations for free and then eventually get hired, maybe. More often than not, they start a YouTube channel. But that's what open source is. Generally, at best, that's what open source is. Now, I use a ton of open source projects, and I want to keep contribute to like a handful of them right now. I think they're doing fantastic work, and it's a good community, and they all seem like good people, and they know what's going on. I'm going to learn a ton. I'm using the tools, so I'm going to jump right into those projects and jump into the madness because I did vet them, and there's no political nothing going on in there. People from all over the world building a project. There's no political nothing, or religious, or national, or none of that is in there. It's just the code and just the people encouraging each other. So I'm going to go jump into those projects. But there's other projects that are, it's Red Hat, and Red Hat manages the community, and all these people are going to go contribute to the code base. But Red Hat is a for-profit company that is for profit under IBM. And if you've been an adult long enough to know that IBM is horrific, Red Hat is turning horrific. They get all these people contributing to their stuff, trying to make a name for themselves. There's nobody's working on Red Hat stuff for the love of the game. There's nothing in Red Hat that's for the love of the game. That stuff's all tedious nonsense. Um, but people are doing it for free in hopes of getting a job, in hopes of padding their resume, and hoping to make friends with the Red Hat people so they get hired. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there. And then there's other companies who have company emails who are got paid by their employer to go contribute to open source. The corporations are benefiting. Those are not communities, some scrappy guy in his basement building something that props up the internet. There's that meme where there's the guy, there's this tiny little rock holding up a whole palace, and it's one little guy in his basement. Those days are over. There isn't one. Not that I can tell. I could be wrong. I could always be wrong. I only see what I can see. But those open source projects are run by corporations, and people are contributing free labor. And sometimes it's because they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to pad their resume. They're trying to get hired. Or the guy like me, they're trying to contribute to something or join a community or whatever, so I can network, so that I can find a client. Or by find a client, I can get somebody to hire me as a subcontractor. Or I'm trying to gain insight or learn more data about my job. Or I'm trying to educate myself. Um, I'm a grown man. I don't join a Twitter group to make friends. I have friends. I have a wife and I have kids, and then I have kind of extended family that I dislike, and then I have a handful of adult friends in real life. I have a couple online friends, um, but I don't need more friends. Like, hey, bro, well, how was the game last night? I don't need any of that. Um, a lot of grown men are in that same situation. Like, they don't want any more friends. They get a wife and kids, and they're friends from church. Like, when they're online, they're just online people, and they're trying to network for work. And that's all fine and good, right? So, if you understand those points and you're going to contribute to open source, and the open source, it's not what you think it is. It's business. You have to understand that. And then corporations take your code and make money off of it, which again is fine, because if you contribute back to the project, contribute upstream, and the corporation takes that code and makes money on it, that's fine. It's still open source. Hopefully you're taking their code and other people's contributions, and Red Hat managed it and handled the community. You took that code and put it into your application, or you took that app that they built and you put it in something you use for fun. Or if you're a guy like me, you took that library and put it into an application that you sold. Then it's all fine. It's transactional. It's business. That's fine. And then you have open source projects that are free and open because they're utopian communists. They don't want you to pay for software. They don't want you to contribute to a corporation. They don't want you to use enterprise tools. They don't want you to. It's so that they can stick the finger to the man, to the government, to the globe, to the corporations. That's the purpose of the project, is to take something that exists and write their own version of it, because they don't want to participate in capitalism, or they don't want to participate in anything that has to do with America, or they don't want to participate in anything that has to do with a nation state. Um, if those kind of projects are toxic, and those kind of projects, people are attracted to those kind of projects, used to be peace, love, and groovy time hippies. Those people were still around when I was coming up as a kid. But somewhere around the 80s, these projects started getting, it's more communist. If you look at Richard Stallman, who's super big at GNU and all that other stuff, Richard Stallman is an avowed communist. Linus Torvalds is a communist. They say that online to people in two people's faces, and they're public about it. Even now, Richard Stallman makes points about government surveillance and all that other stuff. And there's that subreddit, Richard Stallman was right. He has been right about a ton of things, even though I'm not a communist. Richard Stallman has been right about a ton of things. But his alternative is nobody owns anything. Nobody has property. Nobody has any rights. You don't even own your own house. You don't own your own teeth because they're property of the state. Like, it's weird. You also want to stay away from those because even if you are a communist and you are a communist and you really believe all that stuff, the people in those communism projects, if you go back and look at their histories, they all sabotage each other. They all eat each other alive. They know it's going to fail. Communism is never going to succeed in the West. Um, it just isn't going to happen. Certainly not going to happen in your lifetime. Anybody who's ever seen this video, if you found this video, communism is not going to happen in the United States in your lifetime. Socialism isn't going to happen in your lifetime. Not in this country, and not in most of the world. There's too many powerful people who read a history book and won't let you do it. But those people eat each other alive, and they'll tear each other down, and oh, you use a Mac, you capitalist pig. Oh, you went and got a job making money to feed your family. Oh, you capitalist pig. You should be out protesting. Oh, you wrote that in C sharp. Isn't that's the capitalist pig's language? You have to write it in Rust. Like, that stuff's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for anybody. It's not healthy for me, and I want to stay away from those kind of projects. And I think other people in the open source community who want to do open source, not just for this is where my communist friends can come and join the party. It's not just for corporations, but you just want to do good things in the world. Yeah, contribute to open source. Oh, you're a communist because you think that's the way to go? Sure. Be nice and polite to everybody. Be respectful of everybody's beliefs and build your open source project that's free. Absolutely. Go ahead. We'll use it. I'll contribute to it if it's a good project. And you can say, hey, I'm a communist. It's fine. Everybody's got different opinions about what to do and what to grow with and where we should go as a country, as a nation, as a globe, as a race, as a uh, species. Like, that's all fine. We should talk about it. We should contribute to projects that talk about it. We should contribute to projects that increase human flourishing. I'm all for that. Some people want to get paid to do it. Some people want to do it for free. And some people don't think you should charge for something. Some people say you got to. I'm in the boat where I have a limited amount of time to give stuff away for free, and I have a family to take care of. So I got to make money somehow. Sometimes those things align, sometimes they don't. Um, but so that's a good, yeah, go ahead. Come join. Like, my projects are going to be open source. Oh, you have blue hair and you're a communist and you're trans and you think Trump is a horrible person? Sure, come write some code. Don't talk to me about it because I don't want to hear that in the code base. Oh, you're white and from Alabama and you think Antifa is a terrorist organization and Jesus is your Lord and Savior? Come on in, write some code. But I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about Antifa in the code base. That's not going to help anybody. This is not the place for it. Um, we do need to get back to that. And if you're aware of some of those things that's happening with open source and you're building an open source project, you want to build an open source project, then you'll be fine. Because you do have to turn off the monitor at some point and go outside and live a real life. And if all of your time is sucked into whether you're arguing with people on Twitter about whether they wrote it in Rust or not, or whether you wrote it in Rust or not, um, that's not a real life. I feel sorry for you. I don't know. That's all I got for today. Talking about AcreetionOS, the custom Linux distribution that I'm very excited about um, as a project itself, and then hopefully contributing to this project. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to grow, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Um, I think it's going to be great. And then I'm super excited about the medical application that I'm building, the medication tracker. I think that's going to help. See, that's another. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I'm a user. I am building it for me, and I think I can sell it. I'm going to open source portions of it because I think it's going to be useful. Excuse me, to other people on their projects. So I think that's great. So I'm going to open source part of it. Some of it I got to keep proprietary, and there's some things about HIPAA and data tracking and stuff that I probably can open source, but I have to look at the law before I decide whether how much that's going to be open source or not. But I'm excited about that. and I'm excited about building something that AI can make money off of and feed my family, and then I can also put something back in the community because I mean, I learned on open source code. There's been so many people who have helped me and given away stuff for free that I use to learn so that I can make money. So I feel like I should be um, giving back. Just fair, good karma. I don't know. This week we worked on a medication app as a web app. We worked on BMAD as a AI agent framework. That was all fun. I know it's probably boring looking at me think and talk to myself, but I learned a lot doing it. I think those are valuable time spent. I already have 75% of an application built with C Sharp, .NET, and I think that's where we're going with it. Having gone through all that web stuff to test out PMAD and to answer some questions and come up with stuff for like, oh, this is our microservices are not monolith repos. What's the point of the application? Just working with the brainstormer and the analyst, I think was very helpful, and I'm going to keep those files. We're going to transfer next week. We're going to transfer some of that. I'm going to do some over the weekend, so it's not super boring because we're going to reach. I'm going to retread a lot of the stuff that we did with the web version. We're going to retread a lot of that stuff in what I already have in the .NET application, and um, just pick up where we left off basically with the. I'll try and do that over the weekend, and then pick up where we left off with the analyst is 50% done, and then we're going to move on to the project manager. I think it's the next step as a project manager, kicking into like epics and all that other stuff. Because I want to hit coding Tuesday, no later than Tuesday morning. I want to get back into the actual code base and make some changes. So I'll work over the weekend, however much I can get that done, so that Monday we can kind of. This is a good refresher on what's happening, and then introduction to the new code base in .NET and how it's kind of structured. Things we got to work on, and then kind of roadmap it. And then Tuesday, no later than Tuesday morning, I want to be writing code. That's my own personal schedule, and that I think that also is gonna. People who are listening and watching or come find this later. Uh, this would be a good thing. They'll want to see some code, which I want to get back to actually coding, make some progress on the app. Um, and then next week's going to be a short week as far as streams. I just got a ton of doctor's appointments and people running everywhere, business meetings. I'm gonna try and keep these streams Monday through Thursday. My application, maybe toss one open source project in there, maybe on Wednesday, where we spend a couple hours contributing back. And then on Friday is going to be, as long as the guys say that this is okay, the team, they're not all guys, but it's the team says that it's okay. We'll stream some accretion work. So maybe do an open source project on Wednesday. My contributions to that, and then we'll on Fridays we'll work on accretion, either on the X86 or on the ARM version. Um, we'll actually get some work done there. That I don't know what that's going to look like. I got to talk to the team about what their roadmap is and how we're going to work this all out with my contributions, and if they're going to onboard anybody else for working on stuff. Because I think it would be nice to have some other people. I don't want to do a podcast, but I'd like to pair code with somebody working on something and we can kind of kick ideas back and forth, either at my skill level above me. That would be awesome to sit down with a mentor that's fucking super genius or somebody below me and we talk on stuff. I don't know, peer. Um, I think that would be interesting. But I don't know. Here's the point where I'm supposed to have some snappy outro about subscribe, follow me on Twitter, YouTube, buy me a coffee. I don't have a catchy catchphrase, so I hope you have a good day. I hope your code compiles. I hope you have a dog in your life. Dogs are the best. That is Scooby. She's a cupcake. She's a little crazy, but she's a cupcake. But other than that, I guess I will see you next week sometime. And there we go.